Today we're talking about startups. This is kind of a buzzword right now. Everyone's talking about startups and becoming an entrepreneur and starting your own business and what does that look like and what's involved. Entrepreneurs are essentially like explorers. So here in Nepal, this is a little bit easier for us to understand. An explorer does what? They're kind of going into territory that nobody else really has before. And there's some element of risk and danger and uncertainty. But explorers know how to power through that because they have an end goal in mind and they have a dream. They have an idea. And so whatever danger, whatever risk might come isn't as much of a big deal compared to what they're thinking about, what their dream is. I like this quote a lot. It's like walking around in the dark looking for lights that answer questions and attract customers. People come to me and they say that they're frustrated or feeling uncertain with their business or starting up a company. This is totally normal. There is no book that someone is going to give you to say, this is exactly what you need to do. And these are exactly the steps that you need to take. You're writing it as you go yourself. Because again, wherever you start your business, whatever kind of business you decide you want to begin, it will probably look different or be different than someone else who has done it. Yes, we can look for examples and people who have succeeded and done well, but it's going to be a little bit different for everyone. Let's get one thing straight off of the bat. Everyone thinks about entrepreneur or success or business owner. And oftentimes those stories where people get successful, that is only what's focused on. The money, the fame, the endorsements. In reality, what's not often told or what's not often seen is all of the hard work behind that point. So the success is like, we just saw Michael Jordan up on the screen and Beckham. What's the percentage of athletes that actually reach that level? It's the same with entrepreneurs. Oftentimes people start businesses, but they don't actually go anywhere, or they don't strike it rich, or they don't become famous. So that part is hard. It's scary and it's uncertain, and there is no guarantee. So keep that in mind. So these were all once startups. So some are a little bit more well-known than others. A startup doesn't have a very long history. It's usually in the beginning stages. So this is when you're exploring products, you're looking at the market, what's going on, you're testing, there's some experimentation involved. When is a startup no longer a startup? When you start making money, you trade or you sell. So the startup is that initial, that kind of beginning phase. Whether you're starting your own restaurant, starting up a coffee shop, the startup is when you first begin and you're not yet making money, you're still testing things out. So why do this? It sounds stressful. There's a lot going on. Why would somebody take on all of this stress and pressure? What about starting a business is appealing to you? So is it freedom? Is it being able to make your own schedule? Do you have a vision in mind, something that you really want to create, something that you want to do? Do you have a passion or something that you love and you want to bring into the world? Maybe you want to make an impact. You want to impact your community. You want to impact society in some way. Maybe you want to find a new way of doing something. You see a problem and you want to fix it. So tips for you who want to start your own business or are exploring this. And I've taken these tips from the Startup Playbook. We have copies of this at Learning House. So if you want to pick up a book, if you're in Pokhara, you focus on the biggest idea. And this is difficult because creative people who have ideas, usually have more than one. You want to go here, so choose one. And this is hard to choose one path. Focus on your biggest idea and then commit to that one thing. You have to know yourself. What are you good at? What are your strengths? What do you enjoy? If you have a headache and tokodukyo, my head hurts, and I say, I have this painkiller that you can take and your headache is going to go away, and you take it and your headache is gone, you're going to feel amazing. You want the painkiller to take your pain away. Now, say tomorrow you wake up feeling great. Maybe there's a multivitamin on the counter and that might not be your first priority to take the multivitamin because you're already feeling good. So thinking about what is the pain that you could take away for someone or a group of people. How can you help them? At the end of the day, what is business about? It's about people. Companies are about people. You are a person person. You're the entrepreneur, you're the boss. It's going to start with you because you are the platform, and everything is going to grow out of your idea, out of the way you exist in the world, out of the way that you ask questions and answer them. Now, I love this. Be 10 times better. So this isn't 1 time better or 2 times better. This is 10 times better than everyone else. And this is how you win. So athletes follow this. The hardest working entrepreneurs know this, that it's about the time you put in, the energy that you put in, the sacrifice. And again, not everyone sees this hard work behind the scenes. Prepare yourself mentally, for this is what it's going to take for you to succeed. Startups are crazy hard. They're not easy. That's why not everybody does it. And that's okay too. Only the most passionate and irrational people ultimately arrive at the best ideas to solve major market needs. No, not everyone is going to create a solution. Not everyone has kind of the guts it takes to, okay, I'm going to see, can I create something new here and go against the path that is expected of me? Okay, so how do you do this? Don't worry, we have tips for you. There is a certain boldness that you need to adopt to become an entrepreneur, to start your own business, and that involves risk taking. But there's also gratitude. You have to be able to focus on those small wins and those small moments where there is success. That will keep you going. That's like the fuel for your car. When something good happens, when someone gives you positive feedback, you have to be grateful for that, because there are going to be some long stretches of hard work and roads where you think, oh, is this the right call? Am I making the right decision? It requires 7 positives to overcome 1 negative, or it requires 7 tries to get 1 success. So think about that ratio. The first business that you try, or the first startup that you hope to begin, may not be the successful one. That one might end, something might happen, you might have to close, and then you start another thing and you try again. You might not find success until the 7th one. That being said, you cannot compare yourself and your journey to others. Yes, as an entrepreneur, you need to be informed about what's going on in the market, what's going on in the industry, what's going on worldwide. But there is a certain point where you have to follow your own path, trust your own self, and value your instincts. And again, this is tricky. And there are some great books about different entrepreneurs talking about this. The other thing that I want to put into your mind is it is okay to quit. Again, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Starting a startup is hard. And sometimes you realize along the process, I don't know that I really like this, or I have a lot of weaknesses that I'm not able to overcome. I'm not able to find the right team, or I'm not able to find the support that I need, or maybe the activities are just taking over your life and you're not able to find a balance. Now, freedom will look different for everybody. For some people, it's financial freedom. For other people, it's time, having time to map out your own schedule and take days off that you want. Maybe you understand that this is not what I had anticipated and you have to make choices. The other thing that I see with a lot of small business owners is relationships change. You're not going to a 9-to-5 job. When you have a startup, when you're running your own business, sometimes the hours bleed into other areas of your life. There's not that boundary or that time capsule for your schedule. So sometimes relationships suffer. As a result, some people decide, you know what, this isn't the right time for me. I'm going to shift my priorities and I want to put my focus back onto my family or to the relationships that are important to me. When you're thinking about starting a small business or an operation, you have to be very clear about what do you need. So there are different ways to manage finances, right? It's first, how much do we need to operate? So what are my expenses? And how much do I need to make and or find to cover those expenses? If you can start up with the bare minimum where you don't need to take out a loan or you don't need to apply for some grant or for some award and you can just get it going yourself, that's an option. Sometimes people need a little bit of cash capital to start something. So whether you're starting your own shop or you're creating your own cafe, you have to buy certain equipment or you need certain things. And there are different ways to finance that initial investment. Finding friends and family to pitch in, getting a loan from the bank. There are crowdfunding campaigns. There are also lots of different startup competitions that you can apply for, but thinking about what is the amount that I need? What is the number that I need? You also have to think about operating costs. Each month, how much do I need? If your income is not matching that, then you have to think, where am I getting that from until I can land at that place where I can cover costs, then ultimately turn that profit. So what helps is outline everything. You can find different formats online that can help you list and think through all of your operating expenses and what you need. Maybe in the beginning you have to cut back a little bit, and instead of hiring 3 staff, you can only have 1. And then that forces you to think about, who do you really need? What do you need? What kind of help do you need? What kind of expertise do you have? And what are you lacking? So there are different ways to manage finances in the beginning. And I'm sure you've probably heard of startups asking for investment or asking for capital. So in our Business Booster class, we talk about pitch decks when you're putting together a presentation to ask people for money to finance your startup. You can Google and find those pitch decks. Think about, okay, if I was pitching my business to somebody, what would I say? And what kind of money do I need? And what am I going to ask for? But before you can ask anybody for money, or before you can apply for a bank loan, you have to be very clear about the amount that you need. Outline all of the things that you need, whether it's things that you need to buy, whether it's rent, staff salary, and outline all of those details so that way you have an idea of, how do I start and what do I need to sustain operations? I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to run my own business. How do I start with an idea? The number one tip I have for you is get a journal and set aside 20 minutes to write every day, and get curious. Walk around looking, noticing, ask questions. How could I make my own life easier? What are some of the things that I wish that I had that aren't available to me? What are the things that I find frustrating that, there's no solution here? Whether you're in Kathmandu or in Pokhara or in Dharan, look around your city, look around your area, and see, what are some of the problems that people are facing? Could you help that? Could you create something that might make an impact in some way or make someone's life easier? It is impossible to know everything. This is why you have to be honest with yourself and understand what are the things that you know and what are the things that you don't. And you have to surround yourself with people who do know. So yes, it's impossible to know all of the things, but there are people both in Nepal and around the world who have expertise and knowledge in particular areas. Maybe you don't know how to market and you're not sure how to do social media campaigns. You can find someone who can help you do that. Maybe you do not have time to answer calls and send emails and write letters. You could even find a virtual assistant to help you. There are also entrepreneurial hubs, startup hubs, where you can get referrals. You can also ask around. So if you have friends who have started businesses and you know that they're further along in the process, you can ask them, hey, how did you get started? How did you file your papers at, the small business office? What do I need? And you can start asking questions. No, you're not going to know everything, but being able to ask the question matters. Find a mentor. This is, I think, one of the best tips that I got when I was in school, and my whole life I've been doing this. Find people who are doing what you want to do and watch them. See, what are they writing? What are they reading? How are they learning? And set aside time to talk with them. And I know now everything's virtual and it's a little bit different. You can't go to someone's office, and maybe it's not as easy to meet for a coffee, but you can set your own Zoom room and just say, hey, for 15 minutes, can we talk on Monday? I'm thinking about starting a business. I'd love to get your ideas. What has worked for you? What hasn't? What are some of the things that I should keep in mind? Get creative, and remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's not all going to happen in 1 week. Starting a business, as we've talked about, is hard. It takes planning and it takes time, and you have to be ready for that. If you have that mindset, you can build your dream team, right? So you can pick your players around you. Okay, I need someone who's a little bit more strategic, someone who's a little bit more creative than I am. I need someone who can take risks more easily than I do. And you can find those people and start surrounding yourself with them. So that way, all the pressure isn't on you. You have people beside you and with you to help you make choices.